Welcome back, young readers. Tonight I'm going to continue on to Chapter 2 of Vlad, the World's Worst Vampire. I hope you had a happy Halloween. Chapter 1, Vlad's parents sent him to his room for his poor grades. His pet bat, Flit, is supposed to be helping him fly, so let's see if he can do it. Back in his bedroom, Vlad flopped into his coffin and put his head in his hands. "I'm too tired to try to fly," he said in a muffled voice. "I want to stay in my coffin." Flit was flying around him in little circles. "Cheer up, Vlad," he said. Vlad looked up, his mouth quivering as a large tear rolled down his face. "It's all very well for you to say cheer up," he said in bat language. "You're already a bat." "I'm never going to get the hang of my transformations," he finished with a sob. Flit landed on the coffin next to Vlad. "You can't give up that easily," he said. "Remember how brave you were when you rescued me from that owl?" Vlad sniffed and wiped his nose on his cloak. "I wasn't brave. I shouted because an owl had flown into my room, and I was frightened." "Well, you managed to scare off the owl and make it drop me," said Flit. "I wouldn't have lived to tell the tale if it hadn't been for you." Flit hopped down beside Vlad and looked up at him with his beady black eyes. "And you're very good at speaking back, so technically you're halfway there. Cheer up, for me." Vlad tried a small smile. "That's better," Flit said. "Now, seeing as we're stuck in here, how about I help you with your bat morphing?" Vlad groaned. "I'm hopeless, and I'm covered in bumps and bruises from the last time." "Going out in the dark is a lot less frightening if you're a bat," Flit said. "We bats aren't frightened of anything." "Except owls," Vlad reminded him. Flit shook his wings. "True, but I was a baby then. Come on, try jumping off your wardrobe." "You can put some blankets on the floor to make a soft landing. Flying is fun, and it's much quicker than walking." "I suppose," Vlad said, "although I can go fast on my skateboard." He whipped it out from behind his coffin. He'd seen a picture of a skateboard in his Jollywood Academy book and had decided to copy it. He had used a plank of wood and some little wheels that he had found in Mulch's tool cupboard. He had painted the skateboard with beautiful swirls and stars until it looked almost as good as the one in the picture. "I love my skateboard," Vlad cried as he zoomed up a ramp. He had made that too, from a floorboard propped onto a chair. "Whee!" he shouted as he flipped the skateboard up against a large wooden chest. His bedroom was so huge that there was plenty of space for zipping around on the board, and because his room was in the east wing, away from the rest of the house, he could make as much noise as he liked. He mostly used it in the day when he knew the rest of the family were in their coffins. It was no wonder he fell asleep in his lessons sometimes. "It's very nice to see you smiling," said Flit, watching Vlad perform flips and twists. "But what if Drax comes to watch you practice your flying? I think you should put that away now." Vlad came to a sudden stop and flicked up his board with his foot to catch hold of the end. "Do I have to?" he said, his face falling. "Come on, Vlad," Flit pleaded. "Try a bit of flying. I don't want to have to visit you in the Black Tower." Vlad knew Flit was right. He dragged some blankets over to the wardrobe and piled them up so they were soft and squidgy. Then he pushed a chair against the side of the wardrobe. He climbed onto the chair and then, taking a deep breath, hoisted himself up onto the top of the wardrobe. Flit flew up and hovered next to Vlad. "I'll be right here," he squeaked. "Don't worry." Vlad nodded and tried to feel brave.
He opened his velvet cape wide, like a pair of wings. He closed his eyes and thought hard about flying like a bat.
Ready?
Said Flit. Vlad gulped.
Set?
Said Flit. Vlad shook his head. No, I don't think. Go! Cried Flit, giving Vlad a little push. So, finished Vlad, as he teetered on the edge of the wardrobe and plummeted to the floor, missing the pile of blankets completely. Ouch, he said, rubbing his knees.
You need to get more lift under your cape,
said Flit, swooping down beside him.
And you must concentrate on becoming a bat. You need to move, breathe, and think like a bat if you want to become one.
That's just it, said Vlad, exasperated. I don't think I do want to.
Charming,
Flit squeaked. Sorry, Flit, said Vlad, softening. It's just that yesterday when I was reading Jollywood Academy, I thought that being human seems a lot more fun. I hate being a vampire. I don't like drinking blood. I don't like sleeping in a coffin. And I'm afraid of the dark. And all those cobwebs make me feel ill. And I hate having no one to play with.
Play?
Said Flit, looking puzzled.
But you're a vampire. You're not supposed to play.
Vlad hobbled over to the window and saw a familiar figure tottering unsteadily between the tombstones. Vlad watched Grandpa Gory walk up and down the rows. I wonder if Grandpa ever feels lonely, Vlad said. There are no vampires his age around here either.
Exactly how old is he?
Flit asked. Vlad grabbed hold of the edge of his coffin as though it were Grandpa's walking stick and bent over. Then he said in his best impersonation of his grandfather's voice, 402 at the last count. Got a good couple of centuries left in me yet. Flit squeaked with delight.
I love it when you do that. Do mulch.
Vlad grinned. Then he let his face fall into a gloomy expression, and he said in a deep, somber voice, You called, master? They both collapsed into fits of giggles.
That's better,
Flit said. He swooped and dived above Vlad's head, turning somersaults and loops. But Vlad wasn't so easily distracted from his thoughts. I'm only 9, he thought. That's a lot of years of being a vampire ahead of me. What if I never learned to do what vampires are meant to do? Maybe if I had some vampire friends, I wouldn't be so useless, he said aloud.
What makes you think that?
Flit asked. In Jollywood Academy, the children have so much fun together. The school is near the sea, he said, his eyes lighting up. They go on school trips. They go swimming and have something called forest school, where they cook food over a fire. They eat yummy stuff called sausages and marshmallows. Vlad sighed and looked sad again. Even if I had vampire friends, I wouldn't do things like that. You have to forget about Jollywood Academy, Flit said.
It's making you sad. You'll end up in the Black Tower if you don't show your father you can fly.
I know, said Vlad, which is why I have to run away.
What?
Said Flit.
Where would you go?
I don't know, said Vlad, but I'll start by going down into the town. If real humans are as lovely as they are in Jollywood Academy, I should be able to make friends with them easily. Then they'll help me.
That'll never work, said Flit. And anyway, humans sleep at night. No one will be awake to help you.
which is why I'm going to go in the day, said Vlad.
No,
cried Flit.
you'll be burnt to a frazzle by the sun.
He leaped into the air and began flying around in anxious circles.
Remember the 3 most important rules of vampire health and safety?
He said. I know, said Vlad, holding up a finger and doing his best impression of his mother. He said, the vampire health and safety code is no sun, no sun, and no sun. Vlad made a face. And no fun either, if you ask me, he added. Which is why I'm not going to give another hoot about it. I can cover up, can't I? He added, pulling his cape around himself to demonstrate.
Vlad,
Flit began. You won't change my mind, Vlad said. I don't even care if my skin does get burnt.
Don't say that,
said Flit.
I care.
Vlad's grim expression melted. Thank you, Flit, he said. But I'm still going.
All right, said Flit. Then I'm coming with you, and we'll do it my way.
Which is how, said Vlad. Flit flew upside down, grinning.
Listen, I have a brilliant idea.
All right, that's the end of this chapter. Thank you for sitting through it all. I really appreciate those who make it to the end of each video. And I hope that this was a better experience than chapter 1. I know that there was a bunch of electrical issues and a few blurs because my voice gets lower towards certain parts of my sentences. And I hope you enjoy the rest of this book with me. Thank you.